Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. This is a life planner video. So basically, over the past week or so, I've been learning how to use Notion for my personal curriculum, and I've learned quite a fair bit of functions and different aspects of Notion that I've gathered here and turned into one big life planner. So I wanted to show you what I've come up with so far. I have a calendar view within my planner which encompasses 4 focus areas, which are study, work, health and life. So it's got all my tasks that are related to those 4 focus areas. So I've got my study which encompasses my personal curriculum that I've been working on, my design and illustration. Learning Notion is also another subject. Video making. I had life as part of my study, but now I've moved it onto its own focus area since this is a life planner. So I also had architecture and design, but I am putting that on hold at the moment. So I've got work and health as well as other categories that I want to focus on as part of the life planner. And in the area that's got my focus areas, I have to-do lists ready there for every topic within the focus area. And I've also made a button there that generates to-do lists when you need them. So if I filled up the to-do lists that are already there, I can generate a to-do list through that button, and I will show you how to do that. But another cool thing is I can write something on my to-do list and then pop it into the calendar through drag and drop, and that will add it as its own separate page into a database, which I then can add on to and elaborate on, and that will log it for me within the calendar. I've also got projects, so tasks that have more than one moving part. For example, I'll illustrate autumn themed doodles. I've got all the doodles that I want to illustrate there, and once I tick one off, it goes into its separate category, and that also entails the use of progress bars and different versions of that, which is pretty cool. So there's progress bars that change with your tasks. Once you've completed tasks, it tells you how much more you have to go, and that is all related to our main database, that is the calendar view. There's a subtasks database that I've made a relation with its subtasks. I will show you how that is done as well. And if I have another project that I'm working on at the same time, I can then just duplicate that project section and filter it accordingly to the task and subtasks that are related to that, which is pretty cool and something very handy to have on the dashboard. Here we have also our resources page. I've got all the lots of resources, widgets, which links to Widgetbox, different types of databases which will come in handy, and the formulas within them. And then we've got aesthetic icons, which I've started and can be built on, and social links as well. So those are resources, and you can add on to them as well as you grow your resource bank. We've got a brain dump section here, so that's nice and handy as well. And then I've got YouTube tutorials and videos as part of my links as well. You can add different videos and titles and things there. I now have a mega database that includes all the tasks. Every single task is shown here. It's a mega database, so you can see all tasks, and you can then see projects as well, which is very important. If you want to add a different project, you can do it through there, and all its subtasks as well. And I've got actually the project section in its own page as well, just as like a quick link, because that is something quite important if you want to add the subtasks and into the relation area. Now I'm showing you into each study section. In each focus area section, I've made a little like a study room. If you wanted to get out of all the noise of the business of the dashboard and work in your focus area. So if you wanted to work in a study space, solely in the study space, this is the section to do that. You can also expand the page if you wanted to. I've got every topic within my study has its own filtered database, which is, well, all these databases shown here are all connected to the major calendar database, the events database. So the thing is that they're filtered by study. The calendar here is still filtered by study, and then each topic, for example, design and illustration, is filtered by design and illustration. So it will show you those tasks related to each topic in the study category. I've also made a button for home to take you home instead of having to scroll all the way to the top. This is our workspace, so this is the work area if you just wanted to focus on your work for that time or for that day, and you can filter it accordingly to your work activities. We've got health as well, so every health, physical health, dietary health, every single task will be filtered under each category, and you've got your notes there if you wanted to add notes as well. And then we've got life, so it's like a nice little nook, a space just to like focus space if you just wanted to get out of the bigger space and just hone in. We've got a quote up there as well. We've got our buttons here. Got the home button, which is, you can duplicate that and take it to different areas of the planner, depending on where you see fit. The page template, if you wanted to redo each page within the focus area pages, that will give you that. So you'll have your own little look if you wanted to start fresh. And here is the to-day list, which acts as another to-do list. The only difference is that this to-day list is already, it's already embedded within the rest of the databases. So any to-do you add into the this to-day list button will transfer automatically into the rest of the list, into the rest of the databases. So basically it's all interconnected without you having to drag separate to-dos in there. You can just, if you wanted to, instead of using the above to-do list, you can use this as your to-do list. So I also have that as an option for you, and I feel like that was very handy, because if you just wanted it to go straight into the database, you can get rid of the other to-do, individual to-do list button, like the individual to-do list options, and just click to-day list, and that will give you, see how it's transferring to our task manager, major like database. And we've got a quick notes section as well to add quick notes just as you're on the go. Here, while I'm showing you how the to-day list works and how it shows up in the main database, which is very handy because it logs that, and you can then filter it to your focus, your topic, and all that. And once you press on it, once you click the checkbox, it will automatically tell you in the task manager that you've completed this task for today, and it will automatically remove it from your today's to-do list, and it will put it in completed today. And I've added another view for to do today, so you can see what's done today if you click on the done view. So if you wanted to reverse that, you could reverse your what if you accidentally click to do, you can reverse that through done as well by unchecking that, and that will bring it back to the to-do list and remove it from the completed today list. So our first section of the task manager is today, what we're working on today, what we've completed today, and here I'm showing you how it's filtered by this exact day and through the checkbox. So every single day, this is wired to reset to that specific day's to-do list without you even having to change the filter to the exact date. It will say today. So if we're working on it tomorrow, it will tomorrow, when that becomes today, all your to-do list will show. And then you've got this week to do this week as well, and you've got completed this week, and that works in accordance with the rest of the databases. It just gives you a bigger overview. And then we've got this month, which shows you more detailed information. We've got everything that we need to do for this month and everything that we've done this month, along with the date, the area, focus area, that is, topic and subtopics. So when you add a task, you can add the area, the topic and subtopics from there. And then at the bottom, I've got my projects, because this is a very important one when you have different moving parts for a task. So plan a trip, for example. If we want to add, more tasks, subtasks to that, we want it to show up in our major projects table, so we can have a big overview of what's happening. And that will also, once we've checked off a subtask, that will transfer and show through our progress bars. We've got our heart progress bar, a normal progress bar, and we've got a ring progress bar. And you can choose, you can filter out which one you want to choose and not use. So, we've got our projects. That's a very handy section. We've got our to-dos, that's for today, everything you're working on today, which you can regenerate more sections for, more options through the to-do list button. You've got more buttons there, which you can duplicate and take to different sections of your planner if you decide to do so. So you have your 4 focus areas that are categorized nice and neat, and every single thing, transfers into it's all related to our major calendar database, which is the events database. And through there, you could even switch around dates for your tasks, and that will show up in your other databases that are filtered according to different, categories and, dates and things like that, topics, focus areas. So you can chop and change how you like. But yeah, this is basically the planner. And now we're going to start working on everything, building it, the build. So I'm just starting off with, the title, Deluxe Life Planner. And adding our header, just the basic framework to get everything going. So basically mostly everything that I've learned through the past few weeks, I'm incorporating it into this Deluxe Life Planner. So this is showcasing the skills or everything that I've learned so far, or most of it, into a holistic planner. So now I'm making a call out box for my 4 focus areas: study, work, health, and life. And just making an aesthetic view, because the call out menus, they really do help in categorizing things nice and neatly with the outlines, and just making them nice headings and just fixing those up so that I have an idea of what to start with. And now I have a divider in the form of just an ordinary text block. Just change the color to brown. And now we're adding our first database, which has all the focus areas within that. And that's going to be where our rooms are, or our study rooms, our different focus rooms, if we wanted to go into those. And I'm making like a template which has the icon ready, so that when I add a new focus area, I don't need to, keep clicking a new icon. So it didn't work here because I didn't make it the default template page, but then I ended up fixing that up, and now it is the default. So you can see there how it's automating, that part, which is having the icon ready. Now I'm changing the database into a gallery view, and just changing also the covers to suit like the beigey, browny, warm feel and vibe. And now I've added my second database, which is the tasks database, and this is where all my tasks will go. We've got a checklist there, we've got the dates that we want to do the task in, we've got the focus area, we've got topics and subtopics and some formulas that I want to add as well. So I'm just making the building blocks for that, getting that ready. So just making, the skeleton of it and adding all the properties that I need. Just planning that out and making it, in a way where it will be easier for me when adding tasks to see what information I want to relate to that task. So for example, clean the car, I've got, we want to know the date because that's going to insert it into the calendar, so that's important. Here I'm just adding a little template as well, making it the default so that when we add another task, that is there ready for us. We don't have to keep adding a icon, which will take up a lot of time when you have a lot of tasks. We've got also the task of planning a trip, and for example we have another task called learn how to make a radar chart, which is something I want to learn in Notion like moving forward. Here I am adding the focus area, so I'm just fixing that up and changing that into a select property. And we have our focus areas, which are for study, work, health and life. So I'm just preparing those so that once I put in a task, I can then choose which focus area it is for, and that will help me visually categorize it. But not only that, it will help me filter it when needed through the database filters when I am in need of just seeing the tasks related to life, for example. So I'm going in, adding the dates, adding the focus areas, and so I also wanted to add the topics. So for example, for health, I had mental health, physical health, and dietary health. So that's another important thing that I wanted to note. I did make this database initially into a calendar view because I wanted that, first thing once logging in, to see what I have going on this month, and what I have going on today and what I have going on this week. And then we've got our focus areas database in a gallery view, which is so aesthetic. I love the way it turned out. It turned out very warm and visually aesthetic. And then beneath that, I've got, headings for my 4 focus areas. So this is what our life planner is focusing on. And of course, you can change that to suit your focuses for your life planner, if you decide to have a try as well. So I've put in another divider there just to divide that first, initial dashboard section. I've got a divider which is breaking it off visually from the rest. the, the next section of the planner, which is making our to-dos. And we've got our space where we're working, our little quote, be the change you want to see, which is something I've been trying to incorporate, something I've been trying to, be as a motivation for me. So I've got that quote there in my work area, and I'm now duplicating the titles of each focus area and moving them down so that I can start building my major to-do section, which will focus on, for example, what I'm doing today. So once I log in, I straight away, okay, I need to do this, for example, clean the car. I can just, for example, write that in my to-dos quickly. And then I can then drag and drop that into my calendar if I decided to do it that way. So here I actually did a little mistake, which was to duplicate the focus areas database. I was actually supposed to link to view so that it's connected, but now that I've duplicated it, it's not connected. So everything that I change within the focus areas database here is not going to transfer to the one above. So just keep that in mind when you make this. Make sure you are linking to view so that it's all linked together and whatever changes you make are being transferred. If you don't want them to transfer, you could duplicate. That's a great way to do that. If you didn't want them to, change based on, like, if you wanted them separate, that's another way you could do it, which is pretty cool as well. So depending on what your aim is, there are different ways of doing things, which I've been learning as well, which I love. Here we're making our to-do list area, which is very exciting. I've got my topics, I'm going to make the button now with all the 5. I've got 5 to-dos that will generate for each button. So that will make it nice and easy. You've got your icon and you name the button. That will make it, easy to identify. And I'm going to drag and drop into my callout box with my topic name. And we've got a divider just to make things nice and neat and to break things off visually and, to make it a little nice and aesthetic as well, so that it's not everything after each other. So that's what I decided to go with, and I wanted each topic, so I have 3 topics for each focus area. I'd like them underneath each heading. So study, I want all my study subject topics underneath the focus area of study, and so on with work and health and life. I want the same thing. So here I'm duplicating them. You can see that they're all duplicated with design and illustration in this example tutorial or this build. But when you go in and make it, or as you saw at the beginning of my tour, I had changed each topic to what it was related to. And here I couldn't figure out why my my section was so long, but it was actually because I added 4 topics instead of 3 underneath each focus area. You can see in my tour at the beginning of the video, I added 3. For example, for health, I had physical activity, mental health, and dietary health. And here I've accidentally duplicated each to-do column an extra time, which is why it's quite long. Now underneath my quotes, I'm adding a links section, and I'm adding a button section, and I also want a project section and a quick note section. So this is like the area where we're getting busy, we're doing things, we're planning our day, we're writing our to-dos, and we're seeing what projects do we have, what tasks do we have, what things do I want to monitor the progress of my projects, and makes it nice and easy to have everything there ready, conveniently there. This is my task manager, and I thought it was really important to have a task manager because seeing things at different views really helps, to put things into perspective sometimes. So we have our task manager title there, and we're going to link to view the calendar event database. So we're linking that to view, and I'm going to pop that down there and change it to a table. So I want it to show just the tasks for today and the checkbox, and that's it. So I'm hiding the rest of the categories because I don't want that busyness. I don't need to see all that. So I'm just making it nice and clean just to show the tasks that we're doing today. And I'm adding another table view to that same database to see what we need to do for today and what we've done for today. So switching between those two will give you an idea. And once I've checked something on my to-do, see I'm adding a filter here that I want to show all the unchecked boxes for today's day in the do section, and for the done section I want it to show all the checked boxes for today. And so once I check something in the to-do box, that's going to remove it from there and automatically transfer it to the done box, which is amazing and so convenient. Now I'm adding another version of my database, and this is in a gallery view without the covers showing. So it looks like little cards, which I love because you can drag and drop them as well, which is pretty cool. And every time I complete a task for today and check it off in my task section, that task is now going to transfer over, that data is going to transfer over into my completed today database table in a card format, which is super cool. And you can move these around, and I love it so much. So now I'm doing the same little categorizing for my to do today section, just making it nice and neat within a little box of its own using the call out menu. So the call out box is so helpful in that aspect of having things categorized side by side, and you can see that it's nice and neat and all filtered. So both tables are filtered. Now I'm duplicating them because I also want to see a view of this week. So I'm going to make a section for to do this week. And this isn't something I have to look at, but if I did want to see all my tasks for this week, what I need to do and what I have completed already, I can just visually have a look there if I wanted to, So for convenience sake, I have that underneath my today tasks. And this one is filtered to unchecked and for this week, not for today. And so it will show me then all the tasks I have this week. And that will give me a good indication of what I need to get a move on with, what tasks are coming up as well, and how many are building up. Just in case, not too many are building up and I'm moving at a good pace. So we've got those there. I removed my done because I didn't want it to be too busy. And once it's done anyway, once I've checked it off, it's going to move into the completed this week database as well. And you can see that the today section and this week section are related. So the data transfers according to your filters because the databases are all linked. They're linked to view. And now I'm adding a divider, which is a text box, colored text box, because I want to make now a monthly overview this month. I want to see my tasks for this month. And this one's going to have a little bit more information. This one's going to have not only all the tasks that I have to do this month, but it's going to also have the more properties, so more detailed information like dates and areas, what focus areas we're dealing with, what topics and subtopics we're dealing with as well, which I thought was really important to have there, because if I wanted to add a task, I could then go to the this month table and add that property information there. So now I'm making my mega database, which has all the tasks. I thought it was important to have like a mega database for everything, just so that I can have a view of all my properties, because at the front page I didn't want to show every single property. It was a bit like too much information, or maybe information overload. So I didn't want to have on my main dashboard tasks with all, like every single task with every single property. I didn't want formulas to show in the forefront, and I didn't want relations to show at the forefront either. So I'm just going in there and making sure that I've labeled everything correctly. I've got my focus areas, dates, checklists, topics, subtopics, projects, formulas, and you can add to these you can add accordingly depending on your tasks. Now here I've got clean the car as a project because it has many moving parts to it, and I wanted to show an example of how to make relations and how to use them when there are more than one moving part. So now we're adding a new table. This is a completely whole new database that isn't connected yet to everything else, but we're going to connect it now through a relation. So in the clean the car page, in that task, I'm adding all the subtasks that I need to do in a whole new database. So for example, wash the body, wipe the dashboard, vacuum the seats. So they're all subtasks. And now I'm making a relation, a two-way relation, so that the two databases can communicate with each other, and so I can tell the subtasks database that clean the car, that wash the body is related to cleaning the car. And then it will show in the tasks database, it will transfer that information over, and now I have an overview of what my subtasks are for cleaning the car. And that is so cool. Same thing with plan a trip. So here we're having a look here, and I'm adding all the subtasks that I need for planning a trip. So now as you can see in the subtasks database, it's got every single relation, but we want to filter that out accordingly. So for clean the car, I filtered it only to show the clean the car subtasks using the filter, and I've done the same with plan the trip, because when we go into each page, we don't want to see a clunky we don't want to see subtasks that aren't related to what our main tasks is. And now I'm adding a code, formula into my database, and this is going to show hearts, but you can change it to stars. You just need to edit the formula, take out the hearts from the formula and add stars, for example. And now I'm going in and adding my relation into each, so just linking the relation into each formula. And all you need to do is type this, for example, subtask, which is the relation, and it should pop up for you. You just click it and it will fix it for you there instead of having a red line. And with Checkbox, we're looking for that. So I just pasted my formula, and now I'm just working with it accordingly to edit it so that it can read the information that I have in my database tables. And then we have our heart progress bar. So now whenever I check, I didn't have a checkbox initially in my subtasks database, which is why the progress bar wasn't working. But once I added that, now it's working accordingly. So once I check off a task, it will show if you've done 100%. If you've done all of them, it will show 100%, and so forth. Same with every single subtask that you check off, it will show you your progress. And now we're adding a second formula, and this is for the project bar, the progress bar and ring, because I want to show my progress visually in a ring format and also in a bar format as well. So I'm just going in there, fixing that accordingly so that the formula can read my properties, and so that it knows what information to use for the progress to show. And I'm just changing that to percent, and so you can have that there. And now we have our information. Now I'm just duplicating the bar, the progress bar property, and all I'm going to do is very simple, just changing that into a ring, and then you have that. That's nice and simple, which is pretty cool. That's our major tasks. Now I'm adding another view just for my projects, because in this view I don't want every single task to show. I just want my projects to show. So the tasks that have more than one moving part, basically, and these tend to be usually tend to be bigger projects, like planning a trip, things that like it's not completed by just doing one thing. So I've got that there. I'm linking to view my subtasks table, and I'm going to make a project section to the side of my to-do area, and so that I can check the progress of the project that I'm working on. So we've got our quick notes down there, just moving it down there so that it's nice and tidy. And you can see that it's a really long page because I've added those extra, by mistake, I've added the extra row for my underneath each focus area for my to-dos. But in my tour, you can see that it's just 3 rows there. So I've got also, I wanted to link to view my events table to show, and I pasted that as well in projects. It didn't work there in the call out box for some reason, so I just ended up pasting it into a normal text box, and then moved it into the projects call out box area. And now I've changed it into gallery, and I'm filtering that to show the checked tasks, but now I want to filter it again. I'm going to do that in a bit, not just yet. once I've got my to-do, my events table linked to view as well, because I want to show the change that's happening between my tasks table and my subtasks table, which is the events table, which I ended up changing later into events, just to have it cohesive. So in my tasks, I'm now showing the properties that are all related to the progress. So all of my progress bars are showing now. I love how they change visually. That's why I had all three of them showing. And I filtered that to show just the clean the car task. And now in my subtasks database, I'm now changing that view to board, and I want it grouped by checkbox, and I needed to the properties visible, I needed to tick off checkbox there, which I couldn't find at first, but then it ended up working out. So I needed to show my checkboxes in there. There we go. And each time I check one off, that will transfer the information into my everything related to that project will show, and it will transfer into every single other database as well, which is pretty cool. You could even show this within you could even show this within the calendar, but just to make it not showing too much information in the calendar, I just had a brief overview with that. And you can see once you've checked off plan a trip or clean the car, that will transfer over accordingly. So I'm just here deleting our formulas that we've already used and we don't need them, and transferring like a pre-made resources page, which I'm going to show you how that works. So just showing you everything I have incorporated, some handy databases that you could use, that I've been using, and you could alter accordingly. Socials, aesthetic icons. So basically just adding a toggle block to the title of socials, and then beneath that just adding whatever information is needed. So that's how I made that. And then we had our YouTube tutorials and videos section. I made that by making 3 columns and embedding a video into that. So you can have your videos, like a main video that you wanted to keep track of or revisit in that page. And I have my brain dump page. Also my YouTube tutorials and videos will show you how to use this planner as well as my other planners. So that will be handy. And we have a mega database here which shows every single task. Of course your one will be more because you would have had more tasks added. And I wanted a page solely for my projects because I just wanted, something clean to see all the projects that I'm working on, just visually there, because they tend up to take up more headspace and more focus. It's not just a simple task that you check off and move on. They have more than one moving part, so it's it requires more bandwidth. So I wanted to have its own section. And now I am having a buttons area. So we've got our to-do list buttons. In case you wanted to duplicate that and put it in another area of your planner, you could do that as well. And I've got my home button if you wanted to do the same. If you had another page where you wanted to have a quick home button that will take you home to the front page of your planner, you can pop that in wherever you like in your planner area, like wherever you want in any page you wanted. And now I'm making a button for to-day lists, which I showed in the the beginning, the tour, which is basically a to-do list area, but it's a database. So basically, instead of these individual to-dos, having a to-do list filtered to every single topic, showing up every single topic, task for your topic, your specific topic, and you can add each task accordingly, and that will add it to your topic. That will add it to your major database and link it to that topic. So once you're done with that and you filtered it, you want it to look like a table format, and you only want it to show the checkbox and the task at hand. And then what I did then is I dragged it and dropped it into one of my topic areas. So here the topic areas aren't labeled, but you would have them labeled, and I showed that at the beginning in the tour, that I had them each topic labeled according to each focus area. So design and illustration, learning Notion, video making. This is a design and illustration one for the sake of the example. See how it shows up in the calendar automatically? That's pretty cool without having to drag and drop anything. So it's just there ready for you to go, and you could add a task ready, and that will transfer that information, that data, right into your calendar and every single database that you have, because these are all linked databases. So it's going to transfer the information accordingly to today, to this week, this month. It will show according to the filters that you have ready. So I'm going to drag that and drop that into my button section, insert block, and then we drag and drop that into there. And that's a button that's ready to use. So if you didn't want to use the traditional to-do lists, you can just go ahead and use this one, which is pretty cool. And I have that ready to go. I honestly could not choose which to-do list style I liked more. I loved both of them. So here I'm just breaking up the information, adding my to-do list there, and we have a gap there underneath buttons. But yeah, draw a flower. See how I dragged and dropped that to do? That's another way you could do it. Through the traditional to-do list, then you just drag the to-do list into the calendar, and it will show up across all databases accordingly. So if you drag it into today, it will show you that you need to do this today, and it will transfer across all the databases. So it will log that information for you, which I love so much. That's another new thing that I've discovered recently. And yeah, now I'm adding my my projects, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I think this is my projects, which I wanted to have at the bottom as well, and just to have that little like hierarchy of today, this week, this month, and then the rest of my projects, because I wanted to have like multiple places where I could see my projects. If I didn't want to go to a separate page, I could then just go down here and see all the projects that I'm working on, and have them filtered according to that, with the properties that I wanted to show. So here I'm just filling in with the monthly view this month. I love it because the properties that I've shown allow me to go in and fill in the gaps with the tasks that require more information. So just adding more data and more information to that. And here I'm dragging some images that I have prepared from Unsplash. These were directly from an image block in Notion, and I just searched two Unsplash images to suit a cozy room, like a cozy workspace, study space. Just like I wanted it to be focus time, so that if you wanted to escape from the busyness and the too muchness of everything else, you can just hide away into your focus area room. So they are like little rooms that I've made, and you could expand these to show as a full page as well. So this is the part where I begin to build these rooms. I've made a divider. What I didn't show in this build is that I added a home page. I ended up adding a home page button next to the divider, which is shown in my tour actually, but not in the build because I totally forgot to incorporate that. I'm adding a call out block for each topic for my focus area. So we've got for life, we have family, environment, and things like that. So our third one, so we're changing that accordingly. And then underneath that, I'm going to have a section for notes. So if I did want to add a note, a quick note, or more than a quick note, a paragraph, you could do that as well. Yes, me time was a third category that I had, the third topic. I'm going in and adding a few dividers as well, just to break up the information, making it easier to sort through and not too busy or not too headachy. So I just wanted things to be nice and spread out. And then once I've done that, I'm going to link to view my tasks. Make a link to view task database, filtered to family, to me time, and to environment. So I'm going ahead linking that to view, so that I have that ready. And my calendar within my life little room is also filtered to life, so it will only show you the life tasks, which are the family tasks, the environment tasks, and the me time tasks. So here I'm just filtering it to topic, which is me time, and then that goes under me time. So if I wanted to work in this room, I don't need to be out in the main page, in the main pages. I can just work through here, and it will show me all my tasks that I need for life. I could add tasks as well from here, and this will transfer the information to everything, to all the tasks databases, without me having to go to every single task database and change it or add it. This is automatically adding it, and I'm just filtering it to show the focus area topics. So that's pretty cool. This is one of the things I love most about Notion, the databases, and how flexible and fluid, and how much, and like you can log information, you could archive information without even having to think about it too much. It's all working together, it's all working seamlessly, and it's so convenient. So yeah, this is your little room, your little life area room, that you could work in if that's just what you wanted to work on for that day, for that specific day. You don't have to, think about any, this allows you to zone in without the without the information of everything else. You just have like a honed in space, a cozy space to work with. And I really thought that was important to have individual rooms for the focus areas, because it's like an actual room, or like when you're going to the library, you have that focus on, you're ready to focus on a specific thing or specific things. And so I'm just adding here, once you add tasks. You can add in topics accordingly if they're not already there. So, it's very flexible to what your agenda is, what your tasks are, and what your focuses are. So this is completely customizable, changeable, and you can filter it according to your needs. So there's our little room. Our little room is ready, and you can do that for every single life. You can for every single focus area. And now I'm just changing the main table, the task table, to events, just to have that stand out a little bit more. And the thing about the calendar I love is that you can change it around, like you can change your to-dos around seamlessly, just dragging and dropping, and that will transfer over, that information will transfer over to every single, like every other events / task database that we've got here. I couldn't figure out why there was a space under the button section, but while making this video I just realized it was because I had the extra row of to-do lists on the left side. But your one shouldn't have a space there. The one I have ready for you doesn't have a space there. So that's nice and ready. We have a call out box here. Okay, so that wasn't the projects. Let me have a look at what I did initially. Okay, so that was my events then. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so I didn't make a projects title, but I am doing that now with a divider. Okay, that's cool. Nice and neat. We're plopping it in there. And we're tying everything together. Yay, it's all complete now. This is our beautiful Deluxe Life Planner. I hope you enjoy it. And yes, this is basically mostly, I think everything actually I've learned in Notion over the past week or two has it been a week? I don't know, since the beginning I've made a video, maybe like a week. I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. But yeah, this is basically everything I've learned into one whole life planner. So I wanted to showcase that in a major project, which is this life planner, and I hope you love it. If you try it, let me know how you go with it. If you have any feedback as well, any tips or of how I could improve it for you. And yeah, I hope this helps you to make, if you decide to make your own, if this can help you as well, and be a resource for you to, as a guide for you to complete your own life planner as well and build your own. And if you wanted to try this one, I will link that also down for you in the comment section. And I'll see you soon, hopefully in another video. I'm enjoying these so much with working on my personal curriculum and showing you all what I've learned. This is what I've learned in learning Notion, and I'm kind of, expressing that in the video. So learning Notion, design and illustration, and video making are kind of intertwined for me at the moment. It wasn't something that I expected initially, but it is all coming together. And I hope you're enjoying this journey as much as I am. And take care, and I'll speak with you soon, hopefully.